Welcome, everyone, to Midday Magazine for this April 17th, 2024. I have your host, James, behind the mic. In part 2 today, we're going to speak with Brandon, Casey, Austin. They are a part of Lincoln High School's musical My Fair Lady. Their performances kick off on the 25th. We're going to talk to them in a little bit. Right now, though, we have with us in studio, newly elected Wisconsin Rapids Mayor, Matt Zacher. Matt, good to see you.
Morning, James. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate the time, Matt. Thanks so much for being here. We do want to send a big shout out to current mayor, Shane Blazer, and a big thank you to him for everything he has done, not only putting up with me over the years on the air here, but everything that man was able to accomplish in his time. Shane taking this position at a time, one of our nation's toughest times. He gets the gig, and oh, by the way, here's a pandemic to deal with, and a mill closing, and these things and stuff. And I think the perfect man for the time. Did a great job. We really appreciate what he did.
He's steadfast. Strong.
Matt, I'm curious. First off, congratulations. You ran a great campaign, and appreciate the way that you approached that campaign and approached being on the air with us, and the highlights I saw of you in the public conferences you did and those things. So nicely done, and thank you so much for handling the job, the campaign with respect. I admired that, and I appreciate that. We need more of it. Matt, when it comes to the transition here between you, from Shane to you, what is that process like? Is there things about that we as an audience, as we as a community don't really know about? We're not really in those positions?
Yeah. I would say it's going to more come down to the individuals, and again, Shane and I, if it's a contentious campaign, then, maybe things won't go quite so well, But with Shane leaving, and then the friendship that we've developed over the years with our kids, doing different things, it was pretty easy going in that way. I was able to start right after the election, and he was more than happy to give me a little corner in the office, and I was able to spread out some papers, and I met with all the department heads within the first week. And that went really well. I know most of them already, but it was good to just kind of ease tension, let them know where I'm coming from. Very positive response. Granted, we're all in our honeymoon phase for a while, so we'll see how things go. And I don't expect everything to always be smooth, but I do expect it to be respectful and everybody looking forward to the future for the community.
You really hit the ground running. The results were announced, and I believe you were already down at City Hall. You're already getting moving.
That night we had an interview down there, which I thought was a good place to have it, and it was very good. And again, I appreciate everybody in this community that has supported me. As always, I have nothing but respect for the person that ran against me. Just stepping outside of your home, or you're out from behind the computer and putting yourself out there, there's a lot of risks that go along with that. So I appreciate anyone and everyone that runs for office in the government. I have a whole new appreciation for it.
Yeah, I was going to, you really teed me up there, because I second what you said there. Regardless of what I feel or believe or anything like that with any candidate, I admire anybody putting themselves out there, especially in this day and age, where it's never been, I think, more difficult to be a politician on any level. So that part certainly is noteworthy. I appreciate that. When it comes to now you have the job, you see those results. What are your first feelings? How does that impact you? How does that hit you?
Great question. I probably last night after the meeting, I went up to gather my stuff, and here I am in this big old building. Nobody else is there. Lights are off, and it was pretty surreal. And I do understand that. This isn't Matt Zacher, the mayor. I'm Matt Zacher, and I have a job to do, and that job title is mayor of Wisconsin Rapids. So it's, in my mind, it's two completely different things, different ways of looking at it. I'm coming in as a servant for the community to help. I'm going to help anybody and everybody in any way I can, as long as they're respectful. I'm going to make sure that we take care of business, because our goal is entrepreneurialism, building businesses. And I don't think I coined this phrase, but I said it the other day, and it resonated with me. I would much rather have 500 small businesses in this community than 5 really big ones that we had to buy in order to come in here, or give the keys to the castle away to get them in here. Not that I won't, a mix will be great. We're going to go after anything and everything we can, but at the same time, to me, the backbone of any economy is the small businesses, the people.
And I want to get into your hopes and plans in your tenure here, but just to piggyback on what you said there, you know a little something about that. For those in the audience that don't know, your previous career, or I should say what you were doing and what you continue to do a bit, but if we can tell the audience of what your day job is, if you will.
Yeah,
that kind of.
Yes, so 18 years ago, I moved to the community, and during that time, my father-in-law and mother-in-law, Pat and Joe Kazicki, had kind of had their ear to the ground and caught wind of a recycling business that was turned over to the bank when the fellow passed away, and they took the risk, and they basically assumed the debt out of that with that bank. We moved up. I wasn't for sure. I didn't want to be so pushy, but we had just had our first kid, and our next one was on the way, and so there's a little bit of nervousness that goes along with young parents, and I knew in the social work field my opportunities to raise a family were, there's a lot of stress that goes along with
Definitely
being it was kind of what was offered at the time was high intensity foster care social work, and there's a huge need for it, but at that time I made a decision, and we had bought out the old partner in the business and moved forward with Express Recycling. So since then, my brother-in-law joined, and then my brother Tim joined. My brother-in-law Damon and Lori, Tim and Ann are my brother, and Jenny is my wife. Ann is her sister. So I think I mentioned that before. So anyways, we bought out Joe and Pat, and then we bought out Damon and Lori. So then it ended up being Tim and I for the last 15 years with Jenny and Ann. Mm-hmm. And we've grown to from Wisconsin Rapids to a shop in Stevens Point across from the Point Brewery, and then we opened up a consolidation center where we purchased a bigger baler and put that in there so we could service commercial and industrial accounts, and we've really grown it. Now, after I was in the operations, Tim was in the administration side of things, so I'll go into that more in a minute, but it helped for us to have separate responsibilities. So we try not to step on each other's toes as much as possible, because family businesses are tricky, but they can work if you put the family first and the business and the money second. But anyways, so we are now at 12 employees total. So Tim and I count as employees, and they're great men. We do have one lady working with us, Bonnie, in the office, and the rest of us are guys, but they all work hard, and it's always a challenge. Even with 12 people, the key is always communication. Yeah. It's not about power, it's not about hierarchy, it's about how does the communication flow so that everybody has accountability and everybody's doing the job, and we go home and take care of our families, because in the end, that's what matters more than anything. Nobody's going to remember the jobs we did and the business that we built, but you're always going to have the legacy of the kids that come after you and in the future. So
well said, Matt. I think a lot of us can see a parallel between the management and some of the things that you did there, and how those skill sets might apply to being a mayor and doing a job like that. But as far as how the growing of the business and growing of making a business bigger and bringing in more employees, all of that, how do you see that helping you, bringing in, attracting more businesses, or helping others see their dreams come through as far as entrepreneurialism and having new businesses sprout up around here?
Yeah. So it does, and it's been pretty nice, because I kind of developed my platform over the course of my campaign, and it just focused on 4 things, and I got a whiteboard. I got a whiteboard and put it up. I got 4 columns, and each point has a column, and I'm just going to work on it and try to overlap when I can. But the first thing is first, and that is if we're going to have an impact as a government on the community, then we have to get the government itself running lean and mean and together in the communication. So everything I learned with 12 people, now I'm going to work towards, and you have to take it in chunks. Like, if you want the departments to run well, then you have to have the department heads running well. And in order for those departments to work well together, then those department heads have to work well together. And it all comes down to communication. And if everybody's doing their own thing, and it's real easy to do in a government, because the difference is, like, you're not fighting for every dollar like a private industry is. And granted, when they get so big, it becomes a different story. When they get sold to on the public market, I think then maybe things change. I don't know for a fact, because I've never been there, but it seems like it would be become more governmental, like, where there's so much money that you're not taking care of the customers anymore. Yeah. We can't do that at our government. We have to we have to bring everybody together, get everybody working on the same page. And if you can, once the department heads are working together and they're moving their people in the right direction and we're all working together, maybe there's going to be things that come to the surface that everybody's going to say, oh, we don't have to do things that way anymore. I'm hearing it a lot. This is the way we've always done it. And that really can't be the mode of thought anymore. Like, that's all got to change in order to be lean and mean enough to move into the community so that the community can, it's not that we can start any businesses, but we can be the leader or the beacon that says, we are here to help you start your business, start your dream, start your future, and build that. And then we move in, with the school systems and the Chamber of Commerce and the MSTC, the county governments, the foundations, and work together to build a more comprehensive entrepreneurial program from young on. Like, it's a model, and it can be done as long as you're teaching the basics, but you're doing it within the model of understanding and running business and investing money and saving money and working together in teams. That's the important part, because no entrepreneur makes it on their own. Like, you can't. You have to know how to take care of your employees. You got to know how to take care of your partners, your customers. So that's the platform that we're working towards. And then the last part of that is the mill. We just want to stay on top of the mill as best as we can, be a part of that conversation, build that relationship, so at the end result is as much of a win-win as possible for us and for them. But in the end, it's a tricky one, because they do have the ability to go off on their own. So you have to play it right and build that relationship strong.
We're speaking with newly elected Wisconsin Rapids Mayor Matt Zacher right now. And Matt, I can't be the only one that saw the symmetry in this. And I think some, for lack of a better word, justice almost in this. We mentioned before, Shane takes over and a couple of big things happen, one of them being the mill. As he's leaving office, we have the sale of the mill. And I see a symmetry in that and a beauty in that and everything. It's good to see. For those that have not heard, Bill Rudd has announced that they will be selling the building to Capital Recovery Group, LLC. The deal is expected to close in the next months here, but the companies have already discussed a liquidation auction for some of the equipment that sat idle for the last 4 years. With this topic, with this big one right here, this mill, you mentioned before, working with this company and that, expanding and having more entrepreneurial businesses and small businesses. What are some of the other things that you're hoping to do in your time and in your tenure?
I'm just going to keep on the same page that you just opened up there, because it is such a big one. Like, in my opinion, I have to devote as much time as I possibly can to the mill with, again, Kyle Kearns is the department head for community development, so he's right there, and he's doing a great job. And I'm not looking to step on toes. I'm not looking I just want to be a part of the process to help where I can, because this is what I'm good at. A lot of what's going to be happening is recycling, and we know how to do that. We know a lot of the people in the market. When I say we, I mean Express Recycling. To be able to understand better how that can play out, what questions to ask outside of just the government side of permitting and doing this to do that. So I talked with a gentleman, I'm just going to say Glenn for now, it's his first name, and he is the person that was hired from the last mill that CRG did this process for. And it's a system. They're going to sell off the easy stuff that is going to go away. They're going to then probably have to sell off the big stuff. And again, this is public information, so I'm not crossing any boundaries, but it looks like they're going to end up marketing and selling the number 16 mill machine. And it's going to be dismantled and carefully dismantled and shipped overseas and remantled there, and somebody's going to use it for something different, which is just crazy when you think about
it really is.
How different America is, and it comes down to wages and what we need in order to survive in our economy. But then you have a beautiful building, and they. I did talk yesterday, and they understand that they cannot gut the like there's a lot of money worth of copper in there, and then that's where a lot of the money can come from. They need that infrastructure to be there so that they can bring in new industry, whether it's one industry or 3 industries that can come in. They need to be able to do that, because that's where they're going to make their money back then. Converting Billerud converting is going to stay there. Sunoco and their processes are going to stay there. Looking like the craft mill and those parts will probably be gone because there's nothing there. But again, talking about that situation, if we clean that off, it's most likely not going to be able to be residential because of, whatever may or may not be in the ground. Right now, there is no way of knowing. And he said with the last mill, a lot of stuff came up way cleaner than they, were anticipating it. So that was good. But then you have a lot of acres for good. Unfortunately, it's not the best because it's right on the river, but at the same time, it's set up that way. And you have a wastewater treatment center there. You have all the electricity you need to run more industry. So chances are good it'll be there for more industry to come in. So it's very exciting. I know Shane got the hard stuff because what happened at that point was a waiting game.
Yeah.
So and people want to look to the mayor and say, what are you doing? What are you doing? Well, there's nothing he can do besides just have a conversation and see how things are going if they're willing to talk. The fact that CRG has a person that is designated strictly for community or PR and talking things through. We're going to go on a tour there next week, and just to be a part of that conversation is great. But he didn't have that with Bill Rood because they weren't ready to move into that phase. So he didn't really have the opportunities that I'm going to have. So that's my job, and it's an exciting job because the more industry that can come into those buildings, the more jobs that'll be created, more ancillary, I think the word is, for like other businesses to help to start up to help them, and at the same time do what I was saying to get with the young people in the community, or really anybody in the community that wants to start a business. There should be one location to go to, and they have all the pieces in place to help you get through that process. Because businesses don't fail because entrepreneurs love the operations. They love their passion. They love to just get in and do the work. They fail because of all the other stuff, the accounting, the saving the money, the investing properly, the legal, the marketing. And if you have those things set up in place for them, then you can plug them in and they can go and they can develop their business.
There's so many different opportunities that we lose out on as a community with these businesses being able to run because of some of those simple things that you're talking about there. You could have the greatest idea in the world, all the energy and passion, but if you don't have somebody to help you find the right things that you need to have this building, or to have the right different types of licenses you need for different things, and so all the little questions that I wouldn't even know because I've never done it before, but I know that there's other people in those positions. It's great to have somebody not only in that position of mayor that sees that and sees the importance of it, but has some experience with it. We all talk better with people that know a little bit of what we're talking about, and you have that to you within so many layers. Another thing that stands out too, that certainly our community isn't like others, or is like others in the sense of doing this, but I think Rapids is really good at this, at the hermit crab thing. This building has, it was a gas station, it was a cell phone store now, and now it's a radio station. And you drive past it, you couldn't tell. You would think that it was built for this. It was built to be a radio station. I think we're really good at repurposing these buildings. And why not the mill? What's to say we can't do it with something even bigger and something like that?
Yeah, not to mention the ingenuity we have of the people. Like we've been programmed kind of to think that college is the way to go. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for college and I'm all for the people that go through it. But we've lost this connection between white collar and blue collar, or whatever you want to call it, because the amount of intelligence that goes into, doing the jobs with machinery and in the trades, it's a whole different type of intelligence. And whether it's it's hard to bridge the gap between the two, and maybe it's just human nature, the ego that goes into it, but we have to understand that we need all types of intelligence and all types of ingenuity in order to change the direction of a community. And we're fortunate enough to be a decent sized city, but not a huge city where we have the ability to work together as a community. And if we do it well, we can help other communities do the same. And we can learn from other communities that are doing it right now. For an example, we can take what Appleton and Fox Valley has done in working together as multiple communities and figuring out how to share resources and work together. And we have that opportunity to do that now. And I'm going to take full advantage of all the communities that are around here and all the people that want to see everybody grow.
Yeah, we are stronger together. I think the pandemic taught us that if other things haven't already, and we all have so many people that, well, I live in this town but I work over here or that. We've got a cross pollination going on already with our dollars, with our time. It only makes more sense that we come together. We can be rivals on the football field. We can have all that and stuff. We can have our fun with that there. As far as off of the diamond and off of the football field and all those things, we got to work together. We're only better. We're only made stronger by working together in Central Wisconsin here specifically.
So I do think that, an old saying, I guess, true character is going to be seen in tough times, not in good times, and there's all sorts of things that go along with that. But I think what we're seeing right now is all the communities, they had the money they needed. Now everybody sees the writing on the wall. So for better, for worse, it's the time. It's the time to be able to come together, and we need leaders in all of those communities that can see that. And then it's got to be fair. I mean, we can't have one entity losing out to subsidize other entities. It's got to be fair across the board, which isn't always easy, but there is a way to find that common ground.
I appreciate the time so much, Matt. This is a great conversation. Thank you so much for joining us today. Looking forward to talking more and more as we go along here in your run, and looking real forward to seeing what Shane does next fishing. I imagine it's something, hopefully it's something very relaxing and something fun. Thank you so much again for the time, Matt. If people want to get in touch with you, have follow-up questions or anything, send them to the website, or is there a number that they can reach you at?
My personal number, 715-321-0727. Otherwise, Emily's at the mayor's office, and there's email, and you'll find me. My intention is to, so far that's the hardest part, is sitting in an office. I feel a little cooped up.
I get it.
I want to be in the community, helping, communicating, making sure everybody is connecting the way they need to, and having the conversations we need to have. So I look forward to being out there and mobile, and anybody can give me a call when they need to talk and bounce ideas off and figure out their next move if they want to do that. Just want to say thank you for having me, and thank you for all you and everybody here does to bring the communication to the community as a whole. I know that's not always easy, and we're still kind of going through a transition, countrywide, worldwide, and how we're all getting our information and news, and that's another thing that I'll be working on and we'll be talking more about in the future. So thank you.
Looking forward to that, and thanks. Appreciate it, Matt. Thanks for the time. We'll talk again real soon. I want to send a big shout out to our friends at Wisconsin Rapids Community Media as well, doing some great work. Do yourself a favor, go to YouTube and type into your search bar Wisconsin Rapids Community Media, subscribe to their page. And if you want to find out more information about the Rapids area or some of the questions, if you have some questions, you can reach out to them at wirapids.org, wirapids.org. We'll be back with more Midday Magazine right here on WFHR Locally Grown Radio.